Hey guys, it's Desiree Stafford. Super excited to be here with you today for what I believe is going to be a short, I have some time, so I believe it's going to be a short conversation about money shame and having high standards and how they're related actually. So if you don't know me, if this is the first time you're attending one of my live streams, again, my name is Desiree Stafford. I am a mindset coach and a business mentor for powerhouse entrepreneurs. Typically my clients, you know, they like making big sales, they like making a lot of money, that kind of stuff. But when they hire me, they're not quite there yet. They have a lot of experience, their clients get amazing results, but they're not seeing the financial benefit that they would have expected, you know, based on where they are in their business, and that's where I come in to help them turn things around really quickly. So if you're interested in me and finding out more about what I do, go to DesireeStafford.com and, you know, check out my free training or anything. But today what I want to talk to you about is money shame and high standards, okay? Now, this is interesting why this is coming up for me. Hey guys, I don't know who's on here. Hey Stephanie, how are you? I was gonna say I don't know who's on here. I see a couple people, but I don't see all your names popping up. Anyway, the reason why I'm having this conversation is because it's very interesting. I'm doing fairly well in my business, and I thought that I had, thanks for the love, by the way, I thought that I had a handle on the money aspect. Like I was like, you know, I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I make decent sized sales and I have decent sized sales months and things like that. And I thought I was doing okay. And then yesterday, I made a post about money and the fact that I love money. And you can call me greedy, you can call me selfish, but don't forget to call me paid, right? And it was just something that came up for me and I just wanted to share. But I noticed that as I was going to share it publicly on my profile, there was this twinge of, whoa, can you say that? Should you say that? What do you think you're doing? What are people going to think of you? Like all that shit was going through my head. And because that was going through my head, I realized I still have some shame around, or had some shame around talking about money in a very bold, direct way, right? Especially as a woman. I think women may struggle with this a little bit more than men because men typically get a pat on the back, right? Women, we're expected to be much more subtle. You know, we're expected to kind of keep it hush-hush. It's more taboo. So it was something that came up for me. And I thought to myself, that's interesting that even being at the level that I am, I'm still experiencing that, right? And then I thought to myself, well, what's the difference between someone like Beyonce? I'm not a huge fan, but I do like her music, some of it. And you would listen to her music and she talks about all these name brands that I can't even pronounce. And everybody's like, yeah. And they go for it, right? And they sing the songs, they know all the words, they know all the name brands. But yet when it comes to our own personal lives, when it comes to talking about money, cash, not just sales, but cash, we kind of clam up. It's not okay for us. And so that just, you know, started going through my mind in terms of why is that? Why do we always think it's okay for everyone else to do it? Or some people, let me rephrase, some people who seem to be so far out, so untouchable, it's okay for them, but other people, either ourselves or, people who we see in the marketplace, it's not quite okay for them, right? Because when we say it, or when our colleagues say it, or when our peers say it, or when someone else in the marketplace says it, they're bragging, right? But when a celebrity talks about it, they're not bragging. What is up with that? So that's a question that I'm still pondering. It's still in my mind, like, what is that about? And if you guys have any, hey Megan, how are you? Hey Leslie, how are you? If you guys have any feedback on that, share it with me because I'd love to hear your comments because I'm still curious. I'm still exploring that question of why do we do that? Why do we say it's okay for the celebrity who seems so far removed from us to talk about their wealth, right? To talk about their cash, to talk about the name brands, the lifestyle, all of that, but it's not okay for us as individuals, or it's not okay for the experts in our industry, right? Why do we make a distinction? So that's the first thing. And is there money shame around that, right? So that's what came up for me. The second thing is that I want to talk to you about is high standards. High standards and being impeccable with your standards in every area of your life, because when you do that, your business will explode. The amount of cash you're able to receive in your business, the amount of sales you can make, the higher level of sale you can make, will explode when you actually raise your standards. So if you guys have been following me, you know that I talk a lot about, when you're wanting to make a shift in your business, that you want to really claim in consciousness that you already are the person that you desire to be. I talk about it all the time. And part of what that really means is that you also have to elevate your standards to match. And I got to be careful with my wording here, because I don't want to just say the woman that you think or the woman that you want to be in the future, because that's the woman that you actually are now. You just can't see her yet, right? You have all the desires, you have all the ideas of the woman that you perceive yourself to be in the future, but you actually are her now. And until you can actually see that and claim that in your consciousness, you will continue to struggle, or you will not experience the results that you're seeking, right? You can't look to, like, say, for example, you want to get to your first 6 figures, or you want to get to 250K, you want to get to 500 or a million, whatever the number is for you. And you believe that you need to be a certain woman in order to achieve those milestones, right? What I want you to understand is that you already are that woman today, right? So that means you need to raise your standards to match that. You need to start acting, behaving as if you already are that woman today. You need to start you need to start thinking from that place. You need to start feeling as that woman already. You need to start making all of your decisions from that place, right? Taking all of your actions from that place. So how is this related to high standards? Well, if you were already making 250,000, if you were already making 500,000, if you were already making $1 million, how the fuck would you behave, right? Wouldn't your standards be higher than your standards are right now, right? Of course they would be. So when you think about the clients that you're bringing into your business now, when you think about the hours of time you're wasting on the phone with people who are unqualified, people who are not your ideal clients, why are you doing that? You're doing that because you are still making a distinction between who you believe yourself to be, or you perceive yourself to be, versus the woman that you actually desire to be. Does that make sense? Right? So what I'm telling you is to stop desiring it sometime off in the future, bring it into your present, right? So that means now you raise your standards, right? Now you raise your standards. Now you stop getting on the phone with people who are unqualified, right? Now you start expecting people to pay you in full or have the full deposit, right? Now you start, even if they have the cash, they have the credit card ready, to pay you, you start being more selective. You start checking in with yourself in the sales conversation thinking, okay, yeah, this person has a problem that I can actually help solve, but is this my ideal client? Am I going to have the most fun with this person, right? Or am I going to feel like I have to drag them through my program, right? So what I'm saying to you is about raising your standards now, right? Being the woman you were born to be now, not someday off in the future. You don't wait until you have the $100,000 business. You don't wait till you have the $250,000 business, or the $500,000 business, or the $1 million business to start behaving that way now, right? Because every time you wait, what you're actually saying to yourself is, I'm not there yet. I want to be, but I'm not. And what are you doing? You're confirming that it's not your reality. It's not your truth, right? But when you claim it in consciousness, and part of claiming it in consciousness is actually raising your standards right now. When you start doing that, what are you doing? You're sending the message. Let me rephrase. You're making the impression on your subconscious that it is a motherfucking fact, right? And so what happens? Then your subconscious gets busy. It goes to work drawing in those people to you, right? This is such an important message because I was there. I struggled. I straddled the fence forever. I've had clients come to me doing the same thing. And I understand that it can be challenging when what you see in your reality does not reflect back to you what you desire. I totally get it. And you have to be stronger than that, right? You have to be stronger than that. So if you're claiming yourself today to have a $100,000 business, if you're claiming yourself today to have a $250,000 business, if you're claiming yourself today to have a $500,000 or whatever number of business you want, then you have to act that part now. That's how you actually claim it in consciousness, not just empty words, right? And so that goes back to what I've said before about raising your standards. Even in the discovery session process, or who you actually allow to get on a call with you. I actually call my discovery sessions breakthrough session because that's really what's happening in a session with me. I'm shifting someone's consciousness. It's a complete breakthrough, right? So you have to be very discerning about who you allow into your space, who you allow to have access to your energy. And I'll be honest with you, I was never really discerning about this. I used to kind of, do this whole wobbling thing. And the longer I stayed in that place of wobbling, what do you think I got? I got mixed results, right? And if you're getting mixed results right now, that is why. Because you haven't drawn the line in the sand. Because you haven't said enough is a fuck enough. That now I decide that this is what I will accept, nothing less, right? And until you have the courage, because it takes a lot of courage to do this, right? Until you have the courage to do that, nothing will change. You will get mixed results, kind of like hit or miss. You know how you take 2 steps forward and then another step back. It's probably what you're experiencing right now with up and down money months, where you might have big sale and then you don't have another big sale for another couple of months or another couple of weeks, whatever the case may be, right? Why? Because you haven't raised your standards to match. Because you're playing this game where you want to be this woman, but you don't believe that you really are her yet. And so the results are kind of wonky. Right? They're all over the place. If you want consistency in your results, then you've got to step up, and you've got to step up now. You've got to claim in consciousness right the fuck now. You have to raise your standards right now. Right now. Right now. Okay? So let's see who has anything to say. Oh, wait. Okay, let me go back. Hi, everybody. Stephanie, and hey, Bonnie. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Janice, how are you guys? All right, so Stephanie, explain what you're saying. You said because they are so removed from us, and it's almost a fantasy for normal folk. Maybe. I'm still questioning that. So what Stephanie's answering here is the question that I posed at the very beginning. Why is it when, as coaches and mentors, when we talk about our cash or our sales or whatever the case may be, why do we feel, and often other people in our industry feel, that it's being braggadocious, that, we're talking too much about money, right? But when we look at celebrities, they can talk about money, they can talk about the name brands that they have, like all this stuff. They can talk about the big lifestyle that they have, and no one questions them, no one challenges them, no one gets upset or triggered even by the fact that they're doing that. But we do that with ourselves in our community. And I was asking the question, why is that? Because I'm still not clear on it, right? And where this questioning came from was yesterday I posted about loving money. And when I went to do the post, like, it was something that came to me. It wasn't something that was manufactured. I was just sitting down and the thoughts just came to me. So I wrote this quick little post, and I was about to post it. And as I was about to post it, I was like, oh, I don't know that I should, it felt too direct, and I am a direct person. But it still felt like, this is too direct. Maybe this is too much. Maybe, whatever. Like, I just had all these questions going through my mind. And so I posted it anyway, because I don't want my fear to have control and power over me. So I posted it, right? And it then led to the questioning that I had for myself of why? Why do we as professionals, why do we as experts in this community, in the coaching mentorship community, right? Why do we either personally feel a little twinge of something? I mean, I even had a client mention this to me the other day. She just purchased a beautiful bag to celebrate herself, but she had a twinge of, maybe I shouldn't do this, when she went to do the post about it, right? And so, it's all of that, and I'm just thinking, why do we do that to ourselves, right? Why do we do that to other people that we see in the industry, right? When they talk about their results, book sales, cash, whatever it is, why do we judge? Or why do we think it's not okay? Or why do we think they're bragging? But when it's a celebrity, we don't. At least that's not how it comes across to me. So that's the question I posed to everybody. And then I went on to talking about raising your standards, right? Because if you want to increase your sales, if you want to increase the amount of cash that you're bringing into your business, that is directly related to the standards that you hold for yourself, right? And I will be honest with you, there was a time where, for a very long time, by the way, it wasn't like a little thing. It was like a long time where my standards were so fucking low. And here's the interesting thing. I knew my desired standards were much higher than the standards that I was settling for, if that makes any sense. And I actually notice this a lot. I work with powerhouse women, right? My clients are women who just force of energy, right? like total like forces to be reckoned with. And I notice they do the same, right? Which is one of the reasons why they're attracted to me, being able to have a coach, being able to have a mentor who is a container for their energy, because there's not a lot of us out there in the marketplace, at least that I've been able to see, and at least that they've been able to come across, right? And I notice with powerhouse women, you know, there is this this tendency to hold back a lot, to shrink back a lot. And a lot of that comes from conditioning, obviously, right? The thing that holds all of us back is some conditioning that we got, right? And a lot of us, when we had been shining our brightest, have been told that it's not okay. You know, it's been threatening to people, it's been intimidating to people, and so what do? We assume that we are the problem, and then we kind of suppress ourselves, we squash our light, like all that kind of shit, right? And I see that happening at large in our coaching community, especially when it comes to talking about results, financial results specifically, you know? And so that question is still like going through my mind, what is that really about? And we can make the argument that, you know, well, women haven't been able to make their own money in a long time, and so that's why we struggle with, like, you know what I mean? Like, for the first time in a long time, I should say, women are really coming into their own, you know, financial power. Let's put it that way, right? But I don't want to just leave it there. I really want to interrogate this question and see what that really is about for us. So that was the question that I posed, and I'd love somebody's feedback. All right, so let's see. Okay, wait. I'm going to get to you, Megan, in just a second. Let me just see what everyone else is saying. Okay, Halim, what makes sense to you? I'd love to hear. Okay, so Stephanie says, for the celebrity thing, like it's normal for them, and for us, we need to be private. Yeah, but why? That's the question, right? That's why those tabloid articles, celebrities being just like us. I get you. I get that. Hey, Amber, how are you? Yay. I'm glad you're here. Awesome. Okay, cool. Megan, celebrities are surrounded by people with money, and it feels good, or at least we as onlookers believe it feels good. I think most of us attach bad feelings with cash. Interesting. And we withdraw when faced with dealing with money to prevent the bad feelings. Interesting. Lack leaves an impression that we carry with us, even when we want to change that about ourselves. Okay. So I hear you. But why doesn't money feel good to us? Let's explore that. I believe it's conditioning, right? I'll tell you, my mom, for example, my mother resents rich people. And we battled with that for a really long time because I like them. I like wealthy people. You know, I've always been attracted to that my entire life, but I've also straddled the fence there too, because out of a sense of loyalty, there's this, you know, desire to be practical because that's how my mom is, right? But then there's this whole other side of me that's like, fuck that shit. I like luxury, right? And so it's understanding that about myself and for myself, but I also know that the conditioning that I received growing up was that it's not okay to talk about money. It's not okay to have a lot of money. It's dangerous. Like there were all of these, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But all of these kind of like digs at rich people, let's just put it that way. And, you know, oftentimes, I'll be really transparent with you guys, oftentimes the more successful I was, even before I became successful in my business per se, my mom and I would have challenges. The more I was shining brightly, the more we would argue, right? And it wasn't just isolated to my mom, right? It would be with girlfriends also. So this is actually now spilling outside of the money conversation, right? It's really about when a woman stands fully in her power, when a woman is standing really, you know, or shining really brightly, what does she have to put up with, right? Now, we are responsible for how we choose to respond, right? You can't stop anyone from being intimidated. You can't stop anyone from feeling how they feel. It is your job as an individual to decide, I'm not going to let that affect me, or I will let it affect me, right? We take responsibility for that. But I'm just putting all this stuff out in the air as in terms of why I think so many powerful people shrink back. Now, going back to what you said, Megan, about it not feeling good to us, having money, we should be exploring that, right? Why is it not feeling good to us? I understand that we were conditioned as children, but as adults, we get to choose how we feel, right? And obviously there may be still some thoughts or beliefs behind what's creating the feelings that you have, but why are we not, as a whole, I'm not singling you out or myself, but as a whole, why are we not investigating that and shifting that? So, okay, Amber, you strike a nerve when it upsets and attracts. Of course, that's polarizing, right? Oh, good. What makes you feel grounded, Amber? I would grounded. I can't even find my words today. What makes you feel so grounded, Amber? I would love to hear. All right, so Megan, yes, it's learned, and so we must unlearn it. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. All right, so Halim, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Halim says to be aligned. Oh wait, yeah, to be aligned action with thought, acting with integrity. Okay, I agree with you. All right, so Amber, your parents called the community with upper class. Yeah, right? And why do our parents do that? Because as I've just mentioned, my family did the same thing. Obviously, they felt triggered. They felt, I can't have what other people have. And so the easiest way that most people believe, or I don't know if I would say the easiest way, but the kind of out, the way of not accepting responsibility for where you are is to look at other people and project, and to find negative things about them instead of figuring out how they got to where that's what I've always done, by the way. Like, if I see someone who has what I want, that to me is inspiring, right? If someone has what I want, I'm like, how the fuck did she do that? Because I want to do it, right? But not everybody is like that, right? There are a lot of people who will look at you having what you have or experiencing what you experience, and they resent you for it, right? So, there's just a difference in the way that people see things and the way that people respond. And obviously it's a different level of consciousness also, right? There's that victim consciousness that says they have it and I don't. So instead of me figuring out why I don't have it, let me just, bitch and complain about what they're doing and make them wrong, right? And then there is the empowered consciousness that says, nah, fuck that shit. If you can do it, I can do it, right? So love these comments, by the way. Okay, let's see. Megan, that's why I love this video. Oh, thank you. Listen, I didn't know exactly what I was going to come on here and talk about today, but I was just feeling excited to get on here. So I'm glad that this conversation is resonating with you guys. Okay, awesome. So Amber says, I'm sorry, Megan says that this is the conversation that she needed to have, and she's totally working through this right now. Awesome, cool. Okay, so Amber, you did energy work yesterday, and you were way too in your head. Ha ha ha. Okay. And you needed grounding. All right, awesome. Okay, cool, guys. Does anyone have any questions or comments about what I've shared so far? Yes, it is an important conversation, right, Amber? Does anyone have any questions, comments, any more feedback? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up. I'll just go back to what I initially started out having this conversation about was money shame. And why we feel it, especially when we see our peers or other people in the community talking about their big sales, talking about their cash and all that kind of stuff, or even just talking about the topic of money altogether. Because when I did my post yesterday, I didn't put any specific dollar amounts in there, but someone who's performing at a high level, still had this twinge of, is this okay? Should I do this? And I said, fuck it, I'm going to do it, right? Because that's what I do, and it's what I tell my clients to do, because that's how we power through the fear and actually really reclaim our power, right? So we don't allow the fear to push us back or to cause us to shrink. So that was the one part of it. And then when I wanted to talk about higher standards, when you are talking about the business that you are growing, right? Whatever the number is for you, you really need to start raising your standards to reflect the being that you are right now. So what I'm saying is, don't wait until you have the desired size business that you want in order for you to claim it now, right? So when it comes to your standards, for example, are you getting on the phone with people who are not ideal clients, right? And you can sense from their application that they're non-ideal clients. Are you still wasting your time getting on the phone with those people, right? And I know that a lot of you are still doing it, because I was still doing it for a really long time, right? So if you're doing that, what are you doing? You're lowering your standards. This is what I'm saying to you, right? You have to step into the consciousness of the woman that you desire to be today, not sometime off in the future, because if it's sometime off in the future, it's not going to happen. You have to claim it today. You have to behave as that woman today. You have to make decisions as that woman today, right? So if someone sends an application and they're not the right fit, do not get on the phone with them. That's where you can raise your standard. If you're in a conversation with someone, a discovery session, a breakthrough call, whatever you want to call it, and you sense, even if they have a problem that you can help them solve, you sense that this is not your ideal client, it's not going to go the way you want it to go, meaning that it's not going to be a lot of fun for you. Not that you couldn't necessarily help them, but it's not really going to be fun for you because it's not your ideal client, or maybe they're not where they need to be mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, right? In order to perform at the level that they need to perform at. Then guess what? You need to raise your standards and tell them no, right? The goal is not to sign everyone that you talk to on the phone. The goal is to sign the clients that were meant for you. Let me give you an example. I have natural hair, if you guys couldn't tell. And I recently tried 2 products that were highly, highly, highly recommended by people with natural hair, right? So I'm like, oh my God, this is going to do wonders for me and my hair. Well, both of the products sucked. And they're both national fucking products. They're not like, you know, something you go buy in a dime shop, right? These are products that you buy in legitimate stores, and some of them are in inexpensive stores, right? They're not cheap. One was like a $30 shampoo or conditioner, one of those things. The other bottle was $30 too. Anyway, I was extremely disappointed. But because the products didn't work in my hair doesn't mean the products didn't work. It means that the products just don't work for me, right? So I am not the ideal client, even though I have natural hair. I am not the ideal client for these products. It's the same thing with you and the people that you're signing into your programs. Just because you can help them solve the problem that they're experiencing doesn't mean you are the ideal coach or mentor for them, right? So you have to be more discerning, and you become willing to be more discerning when you raise your standards. Does that make sense? I know I'm going off in all these different directions, but everything ties back in together, right? So these are the kind of decisions, like, I get that when your calendar is not filled with discovery sessions, or when you look at your bank account and it's not anywhere near where you need it to be, or when you know, making sales just feels like a struggle, you go into that place of feeling tight. You go into that place of feeling worried. You go into that place of feeling afraid, and you lower your standards. That has to stop, though. Because if you lower your standards, what are you going to continue to attract? The same bullshit you're attracting right now, right? The only way that will stop is when you raise your standards, no matter how scary it is, okay? So that, again, goes to who you're inviting into your space, like who you're inviting into a discovery session with you, who you're inviting into a program with you, right? And what are your standards when you're coaching people? Like, all of those things matter. They matter. If you want to be a 6, a multiple 6, a 7-figure business owner, guess what the fuck? You need to adopt those standards now, not later, now. Make sense? Okay. So I hope you guys got a ton of value from what I shared today. Oh, awesome, Amber. I'm loving that you love it. And Megan, awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. So that's what I shared today. We talked about money shame. We talked about high standards. If you're just joining me and you missed the beginning, please go back and catch it from the beginning, because I couldn't even recap at this point everything that I talked about. There was so much stuff. Thanks for the love, by the way, guys. If any of you are looking for support, you're wanting to up-level your business, you want to start charging, you know, much higher end fees and closing them more consistently and having more cash in your bank account, check me out at DesireeStafford.com/session. We can have a quick chat to talk about where you are and where you want to be, and, you know, how we can get you to your next level. Cool? All right. Have a great weekend, guys. And until we speak again, I hope you're up to big, bold things in your mind and in your business. Take care.